Even if you are one of the people who has that vision in you, you have that dream in you, hang on to your vision, as Dr. Charles Apoki says. You'll get distractors. You'll get people who don't believe in you. Don't even count on people's validation of your vision to put it to light. I know it is natural. You want the people especially closest to you to validate you, but they cannot validate you because you haven't proven anything yet. So most of the times, you will get validation from outside before the people closest to you on the inside validate you. Get used to that if you're on the track trying to pursue your visions and build something significant. Are you one of the people who is struggling with deciphering what their vision is? You see, many people die under the weight of their dream, ambition, and vision, not because they lack the ability to achieve, but because they fear what the success will look like. You see, vision, when I was growing up, I heard the word vision and I got to understand a little bit what it is. I used to think it is some sacred, mystical process where you lay down, put your arms together on your chest, look up to the heavens, close your eyes, and some magical information is going to come to you. But as I've grown older, I've got to understand that visions are those things that you believe deeply in your spirit and you can see in your mind's eye, which is not visible yet in the physical. But you have this deep drive in you to bring them to fruition and make them come to pass. I was reading a book by a gentleman called Dr. Charles Apoki out of Ughelli in Nigeria. And if you haven't read that book yet, check it out on Amazon and get a copy of that book. I will leave a link down in the comment section, down in the video description on how you can get that book. It's a very small pamphlet, about 60, 70 pages. You can read it in one sitting. And he talked extensively about holding on to your vision. That's the title of the book. Why it is important that if you see it in your mind's eye, you see it in your spirit, hang on to it. Don't give up on it. Work on it until it comes to fruition. You know, the first way God speaks to human beings is through visions. God will never come to you and talk to you. That's why when I hear people say, some of those fake prophets out there, they talk about the fact that they heard God speaking to them clearly, they heard a voice and all of that. I can't say it's not true. I've never experienced that. And for many of the people I listen and learn from who are deeply spiritual and deeply enlightened in life, that's not how visions come to them. Visions are those things that instinct your spirit to want to rise up and fight for it. A lot of times, your vision is certainly not visible to anybody because it's not in the physical yet. But in your mind, in your spirit, you have a clear picture of what it is. You can even describe it to the detail of even drawing it on a piece of paper. You know exactly, you can see it. It's only left for you to bring it to life. That is why a lot of times you will be sharing your vision with people who are around you and they'll laugh at you because it doesn't make sense. They look at you and they listen to what you're explaining to them that you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. There is no connection between their perception and understanding of what your capacity is and where you're trying to go. You know why? Because they are judging you on where you are and where you used to be. And they're not judging you on what your potential is. They're not judging you on the drive that lies in you. Those things that are intangible, that is not visible yet to the human eye, but only you know exactly how you feel about them. When those visions come to you, when you see that promised land in the eyes of your spirit, hang on to it. Hold on to that. Hey, listen here, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate you stopping by the channel. Every time you stop by the channel to watch my content, it fills me with a lot of motivation to continue to find the best information to provide you. While you're on the channel, I also want to let you know that over 80% of people who watch my channel have not subscribed yet to the channel. Why don't you do me this favor? Go ahead and hit the subscription key and also hit the notification bell. That way, anytime I have new content, you'll be able to be the first one to get it. You know, the greatest things in this life were never achieved by people who didn't have vision. Was achieved by people who saw it first in their spirit in their mind's eyes and then took the challenge to go out and make it come to fruition. I can imagine 20, 30 years ago if Elon Musk was telling somebody that there will be electric cars all over streets in America today driving, cars that don't need gasoline. It probably sounded strange to many people. In fact, it is even noted that most of the successful entrepreneurs in this time, like Elon Musk, like Jeff Bezos, and all these great guys, whenever they had those visions of theirs, they had the dream of what they want to do. They came to the immediate people around them first, their family members and friends, and gave them an opportunity to invest in some of these ventures, and they turned them down because they were looking at them from the perspective of their own limitations, not from the viewpoint of their potential. You see, anytime someone comes to you and talks to you about the possibility of something they can do, don't write it off. You don't know the drive that is in that person. You don't know the dog that is in them to fight. I was watching a video of a gentleman who owned a venture capitalist firm. Successful guy, made a lot of millions. And they asked him, what is the biggest business mistake you've made in your life? He said many years ago, some two kids, his secretary came and told him that there were some two scruffy looking, shabby looking, slightly stinky based on his description, young men sitting outside, and they wanted to come and pitch to him an idea. And he asked his secretary to bring them in. The two young men came in, and based on his description, he said they smelled like they hadn't had a bath in a few days. He said he smelled them like they were homeless. They weren't stable. And these two gentlemen were talking to him, trying to pitch an idea of a computer system that was going to revolutionize the world. A computer system that people could use in their homes and be able to do myriad of different things. At that time, it wasn't common to have a personal computer. So he looked at them, he looked at the way they looked shabby, and they were offering him to buy 50% of their company for $50,000. And he couldn't even stand the stench. He couldn't even stand the way they looked. He couldn't even stand the way they smelled. And he told them, no, he's not interested. They should walk out of their office. And a few years later, those two gentlemen were Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, who created Apple. So he sat there, even though he became successful at a lot of other ventures, but he said that's the biggest mistake he ever made in his life, because he would have been a 50% owner of Apple, which is always between the first or second biggest company by market capital in the world. Once in a while, Nvidia passes it and it comes back and takes that position. So I want to submit to you that even if you are one of the people who has that vision in you, you have that dream in you, hang on to your vision, as Dr. Charles Apoki says. You'll get distractors. You'll get people who don't believe in you. Don't even count on people's validation of your vision to put it to light. I know it is natural. You want the people especially closest to you to validate you. But they cannot validate you because you haven't proven anything yet. You haven't proven that what you are trying to do is possible to work. So most of the times, you will get validation from outside before the people closest to you on the inside validate you. Get used to that if you're on the track of trying to pursue your visions and build something significant. As you know, I always want to end by talking to you about why I believe in you. Why it is important that you hang on to your vision, because your vision is what is going to give you true contentment at the end of your life. Your vision and executing your vision to bring it to life is what is going to give you true meaning in your life. You see, a lot of people live a quiet life of desperation, a quiet life of deep depression, not because they don't have money, not because they're not successful in their career, because they don't find meaning in what they are doing. Meaning is very important. I've learned that. That is why today a lot of people who are successful are doing the things they are passionate and they are purpose driven about. They don't care about some of the things which is very visible to you and me. They don't care about the way they look. They don't care about the way they dress. They don't care the impression you have about them, whether they drive a nice car or not, or they live in a big house or not. You know why? Because the satisfaction you get when you do what is purpose driven, I can tell you, is compared to nothing you ever experience in your life. It's compared to not even the most pleasurable thing you can think about. Because that is when you feel fulfilled. That is when you feel like, you know what? Like the Latin expression says, I came, I saw, and I conquered. Viri, vidi, Vici. So if you're still thinking, or you're still feeling confused, or you're not clear about how to develop your purpose, you don't even know what your calling is, you don't even know what your purpose is, why you were even born, I can help you with a few ideas. In the description of this video, I'm going to leave a link. You can click on that link and you book a one-on-one appointment with me for a small fee. And we can start a conversation on how I can help you to uncover what your purpose is and bring it to life, to not only develop yourself for growth, but to be able to earn profits out of it and build a legacy. 99% of human beings would love not to be forgotten when they die. They would love the world to remember their names when they die. That is why today most of the brands you deal with are people's names. Daimler Mercedes is somebody's name. Daimler Chrysler is somebody's name, right? Think about all the different companies you know. These are names of people who created those companies. And today, 100 years later, 50 years later, decades later, you're still enjoying the benefits of those companies, but most importantly, their legacy lives on. A human being is never fulfilled until they know they've been able to impact the next person and impact them in a significant way. You must understand that, especially if you want to build something significant, something long lasting, something that will live beyond you, you cannot do it as a job. You have to do work. And of course, work is what you are born to do. A job is what you are paid to do. You can retire from your job, but you can never retire from your work. You can be fired from your job, like I was fired 3 years ago from my job. But now I'm doing my work, I cannot be fired from my work. So I pray that if this message is meeting you, it inspires you to take that step. Be well, be blessed, and by all means, never stop being a blessing to somebody. Until the next video, I will see you at the top.